Secret Unknown Stuff Escape from Dulce is a co-op campaign game for 1 to 5 players. You're trying to escape a secret underground base. Sentient Cow Games provided this copy in exchange for an honest review. There's a lot to this game, so let's just skip most of the setup and keep things simple. Once you've all decided on a character, grab its mini, then pass out and choose starting loot. Your player boards, called file folders, have your name and information in the top left. In the top right is your health. Your starting health is in the darker space. Below that are your unique skills. One is available from the start, and one is unlocked later. Below that are your stats. You can carry 1 item for each point of strength. Mental is for psi attacks and searching rooms, accuracy is for weapons, and speed is the number of actions you have. Some events will force you to pass a test, but otherwise these are used for gameplay and battles. To pass, roll the red die. Ties and lower mean you passed. The 4 spaces below are where you place your loot cards. Throughout the game, you'll get weapons, armor, and items that'll help, sometimes not in the ways you expect. The ability space is for special cards that allow your character to do something new, like tackles and so on. Player 1 decides which room to enter. Spend an action to move, flip any objective token, then draw an encounter card. Tokens can be supplies, enemy spawn points, cryopods that let you heal and/or respawn, the portal to the next level, or the computer terminal that powers the portal. When you find both portal and computer, the floor's boss spawns at the portal. Until then, you have standard encounters. Some are just for interest, and some may reward you with an ally or something else that's really helpful. Most, however, are just encounters. Read the flavor text, apply any modifier, and grab the enemies based on player count and alarm level. The alarm moves up 1 level each time you enter a new room. Some events and items can increase or decrease the alarm. At the very bottom is the amount of experience points, or XP, you get if you survive the encounter. On the enemy card's left side, you have the enemy number, and at the bottom is the health in green and armor in blue. On the right, initiative number, speed, and accuracy. Place the matching enemy standees in the room and their tokens on the combat tracker, which I'll show next. Speed and accuracy work like the playable characters. Finally, the cards show the enemy attacks, who they'll target, and what dice to use. Enemy decks sit on the left side of the combat tracker. Place the cards in play on the right side. In the middle, place the tokens depending on initiative order. I explained earlier how to determine enemy initiative. For playable characters, roll the red die and add your speed. Remember to subtract 1 action for the player that entered the room. If you die, you respawn at a cryo point. Remove 1 of your clone tokens. If you die and are out of clone tokens, you lose the game. Enemies will move towards certain players to attack them. If their target is in another room, they must spend an action to move. If that ends their turn, then it's the next character's turn. Gain 1 experience point or XP for each killed enemy. Once the enemies are dead, roll against your mental check to search the room. You may trade items with allies. You win the game if you defeat the final boss on the top floor. Explore, roll dice, and battle your way to freedom. That's Secret Unknown Stuff Escape from Dulce. The placemat-sized player boards alone mean this should be saved for dining tables. Add the decks, enemies, game boards, and the space needed for dice and you have a huge game. Setup and takedown takes around 15 minutes total. As for the game, well, it depends on how you do. Decide on how many floors you plan to play. A one and done map or a campaign. Expect to spend about an hour per floor. In other words, much longer than it says on the box. On the bright side, Sentient Cow Games have made downloadable save sheets. These sheets can keep track of character upgrades and what floor you're on. We talked with Sentient Cow Games. Hopefully these sheets will be up on their website and Board Game Geek soon. The only math is tracking health and damage. There's lots of reading, and older players could help with the important bits, and you could skip the flavor text, but I wouldn't recommend it. The gameplay is easy, but the decision making, especially during battles, might be too much for younger kids. Should I leave the room and waste an action point to make the enemy waste an action? Maybe I can stun an enemy, but which one? This guard's next, but the Grey Commander that already went is hitting us hard. Save this for experienced gamers, 9 or 10 and older. In our third game, Mom died on the final floor. Thankfully, Dad had given her a clone with gear card earlier, meaning she came back fully loaded. Not long after, Dad died and he lost his great armor, but respawned with an even better gun. Nice! He was a killing machine with it. This was good because it allowed Mom to be our tank, and I was a mix, although my weapon meant I could also be an armor destroyer. It wasn't easy, but we managed to escape Dulce. Secret Unknown stuff escaped from Dulce's boards are these awesome looking towers, but they don't fit well and take too long to deal with, unfortunately. We just put the board level that we're on in the middle of the table. Characters have different skills, stats, and even level up at different times. Eventually, everyone's stats might be similar, but your gear will be so different. Plus, you'll have unlocked your level 5 skill. Characters will still feel unique. I really like that not every character can use every piece of loot. For example, Snippy Von Bell needs harnesses in order to use weapons, and Donna Haskin can't wear heavy armor. The Epic campaign has you start from the bottom, making your way to the top of the pyramid to defeat the Man in Black. The book also has a few shorter scenarios to try. My buddy and me has you rescuing some allies, then trying to escape together. We kept drawing unneeded items or ones we couldn't use, and having the extra people made things really tough. This isn't an easy game, and game events plus luck can make it close to impossible. Know that the scenarios and modular parts can help you find the difficulty you prefer, but if you hate luck, skip this for sure. This game is move, draw a card to see if an event triggers and learn what enemies you face, roll dice against your stats to see if you, or they, hit. If you play a lot of American-style games, you'll know that games can be boring if your dice rolls mean you win or lose constantly. The cards, though, are amazing. There are tons of them, loot too, but I want to talk about the battles. Not all enemies are the same, even within a type. They'll have different initiatives and attacks. Depending on the alarm level, battles will be more difficult, which makes sense. I love the variety here, although I wish the battles had more to them. I'd love to see a new board that's kind of like Street Masters or The Walking Dead New Sanctuary, where you have range and line of sight and obstacles. That would be even better. That initiative track is so good. The variable battle order is like an RPG. Sometimes you'll get to go before the enemies and wipe them out before they even have a chance. Sometimes the other way around will happen. Most of the time, you'll be mixed up, which will create an awesome battle. The player boards are made from the same material as the cards. It's genius! One of the many problems with Ghostbusters, the board game, was the clips dented and damaged the flimsy boards. This little improvement helps the components last longer. Oh, and another good component is the rulebook. It has lots of examples, an index to find what you need, and a really good overview on the back. Due to the length, I don't always want to play Secret Unknown stuff Escape from Dulce's short campaign, let alone the epic one. Thankfully, there are multiple ways to enjoy this game's mix of thematic dice chucking and dungeon crawling. Because we can't mitigate the fair amount of luck and the battles aren't as exciting as Street Masters and The Walking Dead No Sanctuary, This falls behind those in terms of my favorite co-ops.